obviously, as you all have watched, there's a lot that we got to keep working on and get better. But I like the kids' approach, and we got to make sure that we finish this thing out the right way.
Paul, with Maxwell and Dietzen out this spring, a lot of the young guys on the offensive line have gotten some reps. So what have you kind of liked from some of those young guys, and you feel comfortable with a lot of those guys playing if they have to this year?
Well, I think they've done a good job of giving themselves a chance to take advantage of these opportunities. You're not getting a lot of mental errors, assignments, and there's certainly things that they're doing well and areas we got to keep going on. But I think number one, they've given themselves a chance. They're playing and they're not trying to figure out what to do. It's more on the how to do it. And that's when you get to that point, then I think you start growing. So they've been working. It's been good. I think they did a nice job of taking advantage of last year. We're talking about Patrick and Tyler and that's shown up. And so spring's a great time for this whole team because you get a chance to play a lot and hopefully get better through playing.
I like the depth you've created at running back now the last year and a half or so with obviously with Chryst and Brad bringing, but also you gave Sam Brodner a lot of work today, and he seemed to handle it fairly well. Do you like the work that this group has been kind of giving you?
Yeah, I think the group's been they've been working and you've got to always keep building the depth, and been around, you've seen young guys stepping up and hopefully improving, and I think that they're doing that. The younger guys are kind of, we're talking about the offensive line, they're giving themselves a chance to get those reps, and I think Bradrick's what he did last year and learning from it, I think he's taken some strides forward, and I think it's been a good spring for Chryst. He's getting a lot of work and doing some good things, and then there's areas that he's got to improve on, and that's he's no different than anyone else. Got to take advantage of the next 6 practices.
Paul, did you get a chance to talk to Quintez? Obviously, since he's been back, how's he doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Q got back. I think it was Tuesday. That's a hard time for him, and I think it was good for him, to be back around the guys. He'll be heading back down for the service, and it's hard, right? And it's I think it's hard anytime, but something so unexpected, and I think everyone, coaches, players, just you want to be there for him, but there's things that he's got to go through too on his own, and it's a hard deal. I appreciate how he's handled it, and you certainly feel for him and the guys. This is a good group, and he knows that, and I think that's been helpful for him. But there's still it's a long process.
Was that your idea to send Ted down, or did Ted say I'll go with them?
Both Ted and I were with Q, right when he found out, and so it came pretty quick to us what the right thing was.
Coach, last year the team really bought into the one practice, one game, 1 week at a time kind of culture that you brought here. How has that developed as the spring's gone on?
It's a good question. Got a lot of guys that lived it last year. Spring's set up so different as far as being on the field, but I think the group's been good about just trying to take advantage of each day.
So would you say it's big on the players that were on the team last year that carry that over, kind of?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone, you got to learn from the experiences, and all but 7 guys that are in spring lived last year. Now everyone has a different role, as each new year begins, new roles. But I think they've done a good job so far of how they've approached spring.
Paul, when you guys evaluated special teams after the end of last year, what did you see in your return game that you want to see improve between now and next season?
There's a lot of areas, that I thought we did some really good things in special teams, but statistically, those are two areas in the punt return and kickoff return where we need to get better, and so spring's a little bit tricky in the sense you're just trying to find out who, and that's where you see like those competitions. You try to teach the techniques and then expose them. There's some guys that they get the drill down, but when you try to make it a little bit more, it's hard because they're one-on-ones. Game like some guys show up, and so I think you're looking for who can do it. And one thing we've got like this spring, there's a lot of core guys, and like the injuries were a real thing. I think that impacted special teams as well as certainly both sides of the ball. But with like some of the guys that are out now are really good special teamers, which is good because now we get a chance to look at other guys. But that's one thing that we've been proud of. You take a look at our punt team, and it's your best players. And I think we got to try to keep building the depth so that we can do that, not just on punt.
So in terms of really looking at returners, though, you'll do more in camp.
Right, because we're not putting it all together, and so you try to teach some foundational pieces. But I think fall's when you got to really kind of get the returns going. Now you're trying to get. I think for us, spring, we're trying to get the pool of guys.
A lot of depth coming back on the defensive line for next year, but do you think that Isaiah could be a factor if he takes some more steps forward?
We've been happy with as you said, the steps that Isaiah has taken. Now I think anytime, the lines, offensive line, defensive line, there's so much technique involved, and there's such a fine line. The shorter you get those spaces, a 6-inch mistake in the line is like a 2-yard mistake the further away you get from the ball. So there's a ton to learn. But Isaiah comes and he works, and he's certainly talented and getting a lot of reps. So this has been a good spring for him.
What have you liked from the outside linebacker group so far, and what do they still need to improve on?
I think, they've. You talk to any coach probably in spring, and you got to improve on everything, right? And I like the way they're working. It'll be good to get Andrew back. He's missed a couple days here. I liked what he was doing, and Leon gives us a little juice. Duels is the one that's picked up, and entering. He's a senior, but he's playing spring ball like a senior, and it's been good for Zach Bond and the reps that he's getting. And then we got a young group that it's Christian Bell or Keldrick. They just need to keep playing and seeing a lot of it. So they're working.
What's been Andrew's biggest challenge, Paul? Is it adjusting from being an end to the outside backer? Is it the scheme? Is it just a whole combination of things?
I think he's done a really good job, great job learning. So I think he's done a really nice job there, and you can tell the experience. The 7 guys that came in, you can tell he's older. As far as practicing how to practice, maximizing those. Liked a lot. The only thing I haven't liked is the fact that he hasn't been able to do everything. But I think he's done some really good stuff.
How is Jack taking to kind of acquired a ton of reps this spring?
Yeah, and I think that answer, how's he doing? He's giving himself a chance. A lot of the plays look like football, and you can see it. You're a little bit behind on things. You can see him still trying to figure everything out, but I've really thought his approach has been really good. I thought he did a nice job before we came on the field of kind of studying and learning, and you can see it. He's certainly got some talent, and I think the biggest thing is he's given himself a chance to keep getting the work. That's been good.
Well, you had some offensive linemen, including Zeitler, get some big contracts recently. Is that something you can use on the recruiting trail, or have you used it already on the recruiting trail?
That's a fine line to me, and first of all, you're fired up for him, and and you know what went into it, and it's been neat to talk to Kevin, and knowing that it doesn't change who he is, and I think that it's he's not the first one that's gone on. He's not the first one to make that. But I think what it shows, I think your current players is you do things the right way and give yourself a chance. You don't know what's going to happen. You just try to be the best you can. I think Kevin's a great example of a guy that just did everything he could to give himself the best chance. And it's football-wise, it's still working out for him, and yet did a great job in the classroom. Those are the things I think you use, and pretty neat that he's not the only one. You don't just have that one guy that becomes the poster child for it. But first and foremost, you're fired up for him, and then it's, like I said, I think it's great. It's neat for our players now. You can come off and see it. It's like when we're at Cotton Bowl and Freddie comes by, and you get all the guys that come by. That's what's, today we're doing the football alumni, and you see, 100 and some guys back, and because these current players are part of something bigger, and what those that came before them did to make this place what it is, it's pretty cool to see that interaction.
Coach, we've learned recently that Monte Ball has been struggling with alcoholism and things. Have you maintained any kind of communication with Monte since he played here?
Briefly, and there's a group that's that keeps me informed, and that's a step, and I think a ton of Monte, and that's it's a struggle that he's owning right now, and that's the first step. And I said there's a group around him that's supportive, and obviously want nothing but the best for him. All right, thanks.
Cool.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.